Hello friends, I'm George, the nice medic gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing well. Today I'm going to show you a very interesting fragrance, a hidden gem of a fragrance in my opinion, that comes from the house of Ard Al Zaafaran, and it's called Al So Intense. It comes in this interesting looking bottle with an interesting cap, and this fragrance is a very interesting clone that's not a direct clone of anything, but it's more like a mix between two very popular DNAs. On one hand you have the Dior Sauvage Elixir DNA, and on the other hand you have the Bleu de Chanel EDP DNA. So join me in this video today to see why I like Al So Intense so much and why I was so pleasantly surprised by this fragrance. As usual, let's start by taking a quick look at the bottle design, the packaging and the whole presentation of Al So Intense. The fragrance comes packaged in this black colored box that has golden accents on it. There's some interesting drawings of, I think, something like an eagle in different flight positions. On the back you got the sticker of authenticity, on the top you got some Ard Al Zaafaran branding. On the front you got the name of the fragrance, you get the bottle size 100 milliliters, the concentration EDP. There's also part of the box itself has this sort of velvety finish. On the bottom there is some additional information along with the production date, which is April of 2023. And once you take out the bottle, this is how the bottle looks. It has an interesting design, again the same black and golden colored combinations. It has quite a heavy bottle. The cap is plastic. It looks kind of tacky, but I've seen other, Middle Eastern fragrances using the same cap design. All in all, the packaging and the presentation are quite nice, especially considering that this is a very cheap scent. The note breakdown of Ard Al Zaafaran's Al So Intense that I was able to find online has the following notes. The top note is cinnamon, the middle notes are grapefruit and cardamom, and the base notes are lavender and sandalwood. I'll show you the sprayer in action, and then I'll tell you what I pick up from this fragrance. The sprayer is a little bit on the weak side. I think you have to adjust the number of sprays if you want to get the needed performance out of this fragrance. And now onto the scent itself. The opening of this fragrance is very similar to what you get with Dior Sauvage Elixir. You get that very spicy opening, but I think here you don't get that nutmeg that you get out of the original fragrance from Dior. Other than that, it's quite spicy, but also has a nice amount of citrusy freshness. There's that grapefruit note in the opening of this fragrance that adds to the opening a bit of freshness and also adds a bit of sweetness. It's quite a pleasant opening, and you get a bit of woodiness in the opening of this fragrance that's reminiscent a little bit from of something like Dior's of Bleu de Chanel EDP. Once you get to the dry down of Al So Intense, the fragrance loses a bit of its spiciness that you get out of the opening. The dry down is more woody. Sandalwood note is pretty present on the dry down. You get a nice amount of the lavender, of the cinnamon, that those things, they add a bit of the spiciness. It's not so sharp as in the opening, but the dry down still continues to be a bit on the spicy side. It's woody, but at the same time you're introduced to sort of a creamy woodiness that you get out of something like Bleu de Chanel EDP, and also a nice amount of ambery sweetness on the dry down of this fragrance. All in all, it's a very interesting balanced scent profile that's neither too spicy, neither too fresh, or neither too woody or sweet on the dry down. It's a sort of let's call it on the safe side. It's very likable and it's nicely blended. When it comes to, as I said in the opening, this fragrance is a sort of a mix, not a direct clone of anything. It's a sort of a mix between Dior Sauvage Elixir and Bleu de Chanel EDP. The opening feels a lot closer to Sauvage Elixir compared to Bleu de Chanel EDP, minus a bit of the spiciness that you get out of Sauvage Elixir. And the dry down actually is where this thing starts to move a little bit closer to Bleu de Chanel EDP. Still on the dry down, it's closer to Sauvage Elixir, but starts to become a little bit more like Bleu de Chanel EDP. The opening to my nose is like a mix of 90% Dior Sauvage Elixir DNA minus a little bit of the spiciness, and 10% Bleu de Chanel, and the dry down is like 60-65% Sauvage Elixir and 30-35% Bleu de Chanel EDP. All in all, it's a very interesting mix that I think the end result is very nice, very sort of on the safe side, and a very likable and mass-pleasing type of scent. When it comes to performance, Al Khur So Intense has been a very decent performing fragrance. I've been getting about 8 hours of performance out of this scent with sort of an moderate projection in the first up to 2 hours. It's not a very loud fragrance, but it has a nice soft and moderate projection for the first up to 2 hours, which makes it a pretty decent performer in my opinion. When it comes to the price tag now, I paid about 15 euros to get this fragrance, which in my opinion is incredibly cheap, considering that you get a very nice, very likable and very versatile scent with pretty decent performance. As long as you can find this for something like 15, 20 to 25 euros, or in the States something like 20, 25 up to $30, I think it's a pretty decent deal. And when it comes to versatility, it's a perfectly, an absolute versatile king. Both DNAs that it uses and it mixes here are super versatile, can be worn all year round and for any type of occasion. So, and it's a very masculine type of scent as well, so it's a super versatile scent. And on to my final thoughts about Al Khur So Intense from the house of Ard Al Zaafaran. As I said, this fragrance has turned out to be a very pleasant surprise. When I ordered this fragrance, I didn't know what to expect scent-wise, and when I first got it and first sprayed it, my immediate reaction was, oh, this is a clone of Sauvage Elixir. But then when a bit of time passed, I started to notice that it changes a little bit, especially on the dry down, and I started to pick up quite a lot of similarities to Bleu de Chanel EDP. So what Ard Al Zaafaran have done, they have taken two very popular DNAs, mixed them together and came up with a very interesting and very likable and very versatile scent. So if you enjoy, Sauvage Elixir, but you want something with slightly less spiciness and also that mix of, the two DNAs of Sauvage Elixir and Bleu de Chanel EDP sounds interesting to you, then definitely check out Al Khur So Intense from Ard Al Zaafaran. This fragrance is very likable, it's nicely blended, has very decent performance, and is incredibly versatile. And the best thing out of all is that you can find this for a very cheap price. So all in all, Al Khur So Intense has been a super pleasant surprise for me and turned out to be an incredibly versatile and likable fragrance from the house of Ard Al Zaafaran, and it gets a huge like from me. So guys, in today's video I showed you a very likable and super versatile scent from the house of Ard Al Zaafaran that's called Al Khur So Intense. I hope that you found this video interesting or helpful. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in the next one. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.